All right, class. First off, as always, good day. I'm glad you're here. So today we're going to be talking about capitalism. Now, I know some of you guys have been waiting for this video, and I do apologize. It's just last week we had a grading period, the end of the grading period, and if you were in class, you heard me talk about all the stuff I had to do because some students in not just one class or one day, it's all of them. Monday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Thursday, all those classes. Um, just made things a little difficult for me. And because of that, you know, I wasn't able to make these videos as I've done again here in my home, because I'm working late and I'm exhausted doing a lot more work than I have to for you guys, So that's why this video is so late. Okay. So let's see if we can do better this grading period. Okay. So we're going to analyze what capitalism really means, or examine the characteristics of capitalism and create an argument on whether true capitalism would be a good fit for our country or not. Now, here is your warm-up picture. Okay. Now, if you notice, one guy is saying he'll work for food, and the guy next to him says we'll work for less food. And the question is asking you, well, according to this artist, what is capitalism? And I explained in class, um, who would you pay if you saw two guys like that saying they'll work for food and one said I'll work for less food? Who would you pick? And then why would you pick that person? That answer you gave, that's capitalism. That's the reason. Okay. Because chances are your answer is going to be the same as everyone else. Of why would you hire this one person over the other person? Okay. Unless you're like trying to be funny and trying to be cute and you think of you're trying to you say something else differently, then that's your own fault, because if you're answering it truthfully, like if you would any other question, uh, then you would answer the same as everyone else because everyone basically has the same answer. Okay. So think about it, write your response because we're moving on in three, two, one. All right, so that guy you see in that picture there, that is Alex Smith. He is known as the father of modern economics. Okay, he was a Scottish philosopher and economist. But the thing is, he is more famous for being an economist. Okay, he realized certain things about people when it came to buying and selling and things like that. And he wrote a very, very, I'm going to say important, I'm going to use the word important, book at the time called Wealth of Nations, because this book basically talked about human nature when it came to economics. When do we buy? When do we sell? What's in our nature when it comes to that kind of stuff? When do people typically do this or do that? Um, and economic principles about us. Okay. And no, no, not theories and some of that. He really looked at things about what we do as people. And yeah, pretty interesting stuff. Okay. Now, Smith, along with other economists, came to this idea of laissez faire. Okay, because it was a pretty like kind of trending thing at the time. Laissez faire is a French term that basically means to be let alone. And this was referring to the government when it came to economic, the economy. They're like, hey, you know what? Let it, don't, just let it be. Let the people, the business people and some of that control the market. The government shouldn't have any say so in the economy. Okay. Now, here's the thing in a true, pure economy, competition is key. Because, like in class, I asked each one of these classes, um, remember, I'm not from Fresno. Remember, I'm from Tulare. Where I'm at right now. I'm in Tulare. I'm like an hour from you guys. So my question to you guys was, How many burger places are there here in Fresno? The best class gave me 13 places in like 8 seconds, 9 seconds. 13 places they named. Okay. That's competition. So instead of you going, oh man, I want a burger. Well, the only place we can go is like Smash Burgers. You know, then we have no choice. We have to go there. But when there's competition, you know, Smash Burger, if there's no competition, they can raise the price as much as they want because they know people are going to want to have a burger. They got no other choice but to come to them. But when there's competition, that's when the prices go low, and that's when they offer things like combo meals and stuff like that. They try to offer like, oh, we have these type of fries, and we add this to this and that, or oh, we're offering a healthy menu. They're fighting against each other for your money, okay, and that's a good thing for us, the buyers. Now, at the same time, on that same coin, we, the buyers, are also competing with one another because they're not an abundance of supplies for everyone, right? Um, so like when if you remember back in the COVID years, they made the PS5, right? And Sony basically said we only have several like thousands of PlayStations, you know. So good luck. And people were buying bots to buy them first and buy like five of them so they could sell them instead of for 500, 600 for 1,000, you know, $1,500, because they knew, hey, people were going to want them, people will pay for them. So that's what they did. We compete against each other for items, whether it's food, shelter, resources, clothing, whatever it may be. We fight with one another, even for our jobs. When you go for an interview, you're not the only person that company is looking at and talking to. No, there's, if not tens, there's hundreds of people going for that same job. Okay. Now, here's the thing. I want you guys to listen to me carefully. And I know probably more likely you're not listening, you're just pressing forward. Um, but if you are listening, I appreciate you listening, but I want you to really pay attention to this part. When you get a job, okay, you are basically trading your time for money. That's called labor. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. At all. Okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. But you're not going to be making tons of money that way. If that's your goal, you're going to need a skill. Okay. Because a skill is what you get paid more money for. So let's say you're a person who your skill is like fixing cars. Okay. Fixing air conditioning ducts, whatever it may be. That skill is where you can then say, hey, I am really good at this job, so I deserve this much money. Same thing like with welding. If you're a really good welder, you can show people like, hey, look, I've done this, I've done that. This is my spot welding, this is my arc welding. I have these certificates that say I do this stuff. So your skill level is up here, so you can charge up here. Let me put my hand up so you can see up here, as opposed to somebody who's has no idea what they're doing. They're gonna may not even get the job. If they do, they're gonna get paid really low. You know. So I've always suggested to students, yes, get a job, but also have a skill, just in case that job doesn't work out, you hate it or whatever. You have that skills where you can then find another job quickly and get paid doing that. Okay, until you find another job that you may want to try or whatever the case may be in your life. Okay. Now, in a pure capitalistic system, there are five main characteristics: private ownership, control of ownership, meaning you control everything about your company, and economic resources. You want to buy 10,000 pounds of steel? Sure, you can. What you're going to do with it, who knows? But hey, you if you want to buy it, buy it. No one's going to tell you you can't. Free enterprise, we'll talk about in a second. Competition, we talked about that. Freedom of choice. This one I love. Okay, because freedom of choice basically means no one's putting a gun to your head saying, you got to buy these shoes from this place. No, you can buy whatever you want from wherever you want. Um, if you want to buy knockoff shoes, buy them. You have that freedom to do it. Okay. If you want to spend, all the money in your bank account to go watch some concert, you have the freedom to do that. Now, you're going to suffer the consequences for that decisions, but you have that freedom to make that decision. Okay. The last one I really, really like. It's the possibility of outcomes. There's no guarantee that your business is going to be a success, that your tattoo parlor, um, your restaurant or whatever it may be is going to be a success. It might crumble and fail and burn, but that's okay. You know, that's okay. That means, hey, it didn't work this time. Maybe if you move to another place, it might work, or maybe you need to think of something else, some other way to capture the public's attention and for you to get your business on its feet. Now, where does idea of capitalism come from? Well, it developed from the medieval times, believe it or not. This is something that I said in class, and so many students couldn't wrap their mind around it. So hopefully, if you're listening, you can do a little better job. So back before the Great Plague, basically when people worked in the fields, because remember, 95% of the jobs were working in the farms or some form of agriculture work. You know, uh, the thing is, they didn't work to, oh, I'm gonna make money and things like that. No, it was basically to survive. Okay. Now, some students in class were saying, well, I mean, those people had a lot of land. How come they couldn't just like pick it and then whatever's left over, sell it? Well, here's the thing, there's no guarantee that what you pick is going to be good, you know? So if you have, let's say, 5 acres of land, maybe 1 acre of land is going to be good because, hey, there's things like where there's disease in the ground, the soil gets disease and some of that, and it ruins the crop. Animals sometimes come in through and start eating away. Now some students try to say, well, I'll put a fence. Okay, you're going to put a fence around 5 acres of land. Okay, well, what about the animals under the ground? Gophers, rabbits, and things like that. What are you going to do? And again, we're talking about back then, back in the 1200s. You know, it's not that you're all going to get this metal, fence and some of that. No, they didn't have that back then. So you would have to do it all by hand and typically made of wood. That's going to take a lot of time, you know. So yeah, people basically worked their jobs to feed their families and themselves. Okay. Now it wasn't until after the plague, when basically like a good chunk of the world died, that people realized, well, we got extra food. Maybe we can sell it and have money and then use that money to buy things that we need. Wow. Also, the concept of vacation first came up during this time too. Nobody knew what a vacation was because no one took a vacation. No one had the time to relax and stuff like that. No one had the money to relax and things like that. Everyone was always working every day and basically to provide for their family. Okay. The other thing is money should be used aggressively. Now, what does that mean? Basically, money is meant to be spent. Now, does that mean you should spend every single penny you get as soon as you get it? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You should have money saved in your accounts, banking account, saving account, whatever. Um, the thing is though, they're mainly talking about people who have a lot of money. People who have like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. That money needs to go into the economy. So that way, people, when those people buy things at like the local Target, Walmart, auto shop, or whatever, that money then goes to that business, and that business they then give that money to their workers because hey, they work the job and stuff like that, right? So then that worker then takes that money and buys food for the family, clothing, pays the rent, the bills, some of that, and that keeps our economy going. Okay, you have to put money into the the public, but that's the thing where the rich people are hurting our country is that they hold on to that money because they want to be a, a multimillionaire, a billionaire, some of that, when really they should be putting that money into our economy. You know, putting money, buying stuff, um, and then that money will then go to the company. The company will then pay the workers, and who knows if they buy enough, the company will be like, "Hey, you guys did really great." They want to keep their workers happy, so they'll give them raises, and it just really helps our economy when things like that happen. Okay. The other thing is, back in the 13th century, people started to invest in merchants, basically saying, "Hey, if I give you an extra $100 to buy extra merchandise, when you sell it and you make whatever profit, I get a percentage of that." That still goes on to this day. Okay. Now, a free market means the government puts no limit on the freedoms of the buyers and sellers. So if you want to buy 10,000 pairs of Jordan shoes, by all means, go for it. That's all you. Okay. What you do with it, that's also on you. Whether you sell them, use them, whatever the case may be, that's all on you. Okay. That's a free market where the buyers and sellers have no limit. They have total freedom. Now, here's the thing. I know a lot of people have said things like on TikTok and stuff like that, like this is a capitalistic country and things like that. We are pure capitalistic. No, we're not. We are far from a pure capitalistic system. There is no country that is a pure capitalistic country. Okay. In order for a country to be that way, basically they would allow only like one company to survive because that was the strongest company. Okay. All the other companies would die, would wither away. The government would not help you at all. And I mean at all. So if you lost your job, some places can file for bankruptcy, some of that here in this country. In a pure capitalistic country, the government couldn't help out even if they wanted to. Because, hey, the market chose saying this company is the people don't want to buy it, things like that. So the people lose their jobs. And the government doesn't pay unemployment, welfare, WIC. The government doesn't pay for police service, schools, firemen. So if your house is on fire, they would put it out and then they give you a bill saying, here you go. There's a bill for saving your house. You can pay it in so many days. If the cops drove by like, hey, we came drive by your house, this and that, we're gonna add it to your monthly fee, for making sure you're safe. You have to pay for everything in a pure capitalistic system. Nothing is free. The government doesn't provide anything. The government is like standing back here doing nothing to the economy. They're not helping you because anything that helps you, that's socialism. Anytime the government helps out in any which way, that is socialism. Capitalism, the government's over here. Okay. Um. Now, so what kind of system do we have? Our main purpose, the U.S. main economy purpose, is to preserve the free market. Okay. Um, we do have a government that regulates foreign trade. Okay. And the government does want you to own property. Okay. They want you to start a business, they want you to own your own home. Okay. And I know some people, they just don't believe that. They're like, oh, the government doesn't want us to do this. They don't want us to do that. Guys, they do. They really do, because you're doing that, starting your own business, having your own home, that gets the economy going because you're going to put money into the system. And that's what they want. That's what they really want. So the whole notion of, oh, they don't want us to have this, they don't want to, guys, don't believe that. It's pure crap. Okay. Now, another thing our government does is regulate things in our economy. And they do create programs to basically keep us safe. So, like the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, that was created because mainly of the Meat Inspection Act. I believe it was in 1894, I want to say. But basically, if you ever read the book The Jungle, there's a great part in there where there's like a rat, because it's about the meat industry, right? And there's a rat on a beam walking, and it slips and falls into this meat grinder. Now the rat is trying to get out, but it can't. This person is grinding the meat and some of that. He sees the rat, he hears it squealing. Other workers saw the rat in there and were just like, whatever, and then the rat eventually went, and now it's mixed in with the ground beef that somebody in time ate. So when that book came out, that sickened a lot of people, and they were like, well, where's the government? Why aren't they doing something about this? The government's like, hey, you guys don't want us involved in this stuff. You don't want us involved in anything. You want you want the business people to do what they do because you think that helps out the economy. So we're out of this. What can we do? So that's when they said, oh, no, no, Congress needs to make a law where meat is inspected to make sure it's safe. That's where the Meat Inspection Act came from. Later on, the Pure Food and Drug Act came in. If you ever notice when you buy Tylenol, it has this red casing around it, right? And it says on there, don't open if broken. Okay. So when you break that, there's still the child safety proof cap, right? So you open that. Then they got that silver tin little foil cover, right? Pop your thumb through, and what do you got? You got cotton balls down there. So you take out the cotton balls, then you can finally get to the medicine. Now, why did they do all that stuff? Well, basically in the 1980s, somebody put poison in Tylenol capsules, and people died. And again, people were like, "Well, where's the government regulating this?" And they're like, "Y'all don't want us to. You don't want us to be involved in anything." So that's when they said, "Okay, now we need regulations." So that's why, again, when they say on the red, plastic thing around, if it's broken, don't open it because of that. Okay. Now, the thing is, what type of economy we have, it's considered a mixed economy. We are not pure capitalism. We are not pure, socialist. We're a mix of the two. Okay. Where the government is helping keep a free enterprise, a free market, but they also make decisions and regulate things um, to keep us safe and to keep our economy kind of even kiltered, not going one way too much or one way the other way. Um, and again, they're trying to keep a free and fair market and protect us. Okay. So that's why I said when you hear people say, oh, we live in a capitalistic country, oh, we're heading towards socialism. We kind of already are partly socialist, but we're also partly capitalistic. Okay. So hopefully you use these lessons that I've given you to shut those people up and see the look on their face when you drop knowledge on them that they are trying to think of a lie or some BS to think of, It's so funny. Trust me, you'll love it. Okay. So here's my question to you. Do you believe a failing company should be saved by the government? So stores like Sears, True Value, I just read an article today how they're going under. Should the government step in and save those companies? Or should they be like, no, you guys are on your own? Okay. What do you personally think? Should the government help them out or no? Okay. So again, the writing prompts on the bottom there. I believe the government should or shouldn't help a failing, it's supposed to be a failing company, not government. Apologize for that. Because, and explain why. Okay. So once you answer this question, you're done for the day. So hopefully you learned something new. Hopefully you enjoyed this. With that being said, guys, you take care, you be safe, and I'll see you guys later, okay?